So hello everyone, this is second session of the Python education. We will be going through this day 2. Actually I will rename it to session 2. So there will be some exercises for homework, try and accept, and classes. But first let's go over the stuff we went last time. So that should be most of the stuff from here. So we definitely explained how strings work, what functions do they have. Then the built-in functions like len, id, strings and int conversions. We learned about data types. So that's all the lists, dictionaries, and other commonly used like sets, and different types of numbers. Then the how it is called? This is properly called the conditions. So you can compare different stuff, say if it's lower, higher. Also use functions which give you Boolean value of the if the string is lower, etc. I didn't gather any questions from before, so there is nothing to go through, but I'm hoping everything is clear from this point. One thing I wanted to show in last session was what's this? Functions we will go through because we didn't went through them last time. That will be short intro, but I wanted to show this live programming Python tutor. So the idea is that as you write the code, you will see what's happening. So this is how you define some variable into a variable called x. So this is just the integer 5. And you can see in the global frame there is integer 5. So let's do some list. So we can do lists like this again. This is like I can do a regular way. Let's see. You see, I have to mark every point. Of course, I can mix it. I can be multiple. I mean any value in the list, even dictionaries, why not? Not like this. So you can see everything, and you can see that it's a dict, this is a list, this is of course a string. So the idea is that if you do something more complex, so for example I want to print each fruit in the list of fruits. Of course, I mean each item in it, not everything is fruits there. So I will just do this and print fruit. So this is the output, and you can see that there is also a fruit, and actually it only shows you the last item. So actually there is there are the steps. I think there was also some different, this visualizer, what a word. So when this loads, this will allow you to go through each steps. So actually we can go back again. So the code stays, but we can see this arrow, next line to be executed. So we define an X. Now you can see the green arrow, what was just executed. So that's this, then the definition of the fruits. This happens, and then we go next. So you can see that the first iteration of this loop is for fruit in fruits. So fruit is defined by first the banana. So it goes to the index 0. Then next step, it prints it. That's the next step actually. So it always two steps in this loop. and then it loads the number 5, the integer 5. So that's here, then it prints it, and then the whole dictionary. Yeah, actually it was interesting. Yeah, not sure what this is. Probably no, this is how it works with the dictionaries. And then the apple. That's it. So for more complex things, we will definitely visit this. Yeah, this is the same thing. So it just works. It should work the same way actually, because there is a live programming mode and this mode, yeah, which is the same thing. Previously they didn't have it. Yeah, so Python 3.6 and 2.7, yeah, they invented, I mean, they made this page better. So now you can use this for free, generate permanent link or etc to show someone if you are debugging something what are the issues. So this is like one of the interesting tools. I will actually make like new file and actually rename this. I still didn't go through all the points and didn't beautify it. Why it's so slow? Let's make a new one. One of the news from since last week, Python 3.7 was released. It was actually on the day we had the first session. So there is a bunch of things new. I didn't go through it yet, but you can read definitely these proposals. So there are all kinds of improvements in the language and different ways how to do things. Yeah, nothing at first look, it might not give you any idea what it is, but for example, yeah, this makes sense. There's also Czech translation going on. So this is like, yeah, very nice. So lots of things. There will definitely be some videos about it or talks about the new things in Python 3.7. We had one in Pyvo, so that will be on live on the Pyvo network. Yeah, actually I had it open, sorry. So that's session 1, and I can do that later, sorry. So this was the live programming, the Python 3.7. I'm thinking that most of the stuff we went through, so hello world, variable types, string formation, string formatting, we didn't go through that. We did some basic string operations, we did conditions and loops. We went only with the for, so this is the string formatting. Yeah, we didn't went through that. We will go through that later, and we will be printing something. But the idea is that you can either use this kind of syntax, and you can see what these percentage S and D and F mean. And actually I will show you a different way how to do that. I think it's pattern format. Yeah, it's a function called format string, and there is this interesting page. Yeah, this is the old way, and this is the new way. So we will not go through it now, but you get the idea that when you have a string and you have these placeholders, you use function format and you put in the values. So I can actually show you the string has function format, and that's what this means. Yeah, return a formatted version of S. So I can just show you what the output will be. 1, 2. Yeah, you can do crazy things like this, or also do extra D's. Yeah, so this is interesting actually. That when you want to use these join brackets in the string, you have to use 2, otherwise you get it broken. You can also shift. So this is old way, I mean the default way is to just go with the order, but you can switch the order. So second first, and yeah, 2 1. You get the idea. So this is definitely a very nice page because you get all these extra cheats and targeting numbers, floats, padding numbers, all kinds of stuff. So it's definitely interesting for someone. So this is the Py format. And this is the live Python thing you can use to visualize code.
Talk to me.
And yeah, that's it. Actually, I can save this to the GitHub repo. Where is it? Yeah, so this page, as you all know. Yeah, because there is also already a bunch of links, books, interactive tutorials, yeah, the communities. I have this broken. Yeah, we'll fix later. So let's actually get started because we are already late with the yeah, colleague came. Improvisation, yeah, and some preferment. So, and is there anything on the... nothing here? Good. So let's get started. Actually, I didn't went through this, sorry. So string operations, we went through that. We did len, and the indexes we didn't, but you get the idea. You get you have to explore the functions on the object, and this is some exercise you definitely should try. Conditions we went through. Yeah, so if we didn't do this. So when you are searching for some string in a string or even in a list, you can do it like this. So the idea is that let me copy the... actually I can do it here. So I can do the conditions in the loop if there is if the fruit is we can ask if the variable fruit is integer. So I don't know how to do that from top of my head, so I can find here, I think is instance. Yeah, so is instance is like built-in function which returns you if the object is what you are matching. So I want to match 5 and say that's integer, and that's true. If I do a float, that's false, or any other value. So I can do is instance. Yeah, I don't get the tab completion here, I'm used to. So if instance is fruit, we can print fruit is int. If you have some kind of situation when you want to do this. What is wrong there? Is instance, yeah. Of course, expected 2 arguments, got 1 int. So if I execute it, what's this? I have to run it again. No. Okay. You can just enter it like this. Actually, yeah. So this is the step. Yeah. Nana, and then the 5 is defined. It goes through this condition, so that gets printed, and then it gets printed always. So this always gets printed, and we can do like else, and that will get printed on each iteration. That fruit is, I could just copy it, it's not a int, else semicolon. When you always do the semicolon, you do like the new tab, I mean new line, and first spaces. This is first spaces, or one tab. You can do a few spaces less or more, but it's better to do first spaces. It's a kind of standard. China needs help with Python. Okay, so you can you can help people directly through this. This is interesting. Okay, so yeah, so the conditions get first, banana is not an int, and then it goes further. So that's kind of like a refresh about the conditions. And you can also do else if to do conditions in the middle, but I think that's explained somewhere in here. Yeah. And actually I didn't explain properly the in, so you can do also in a dict. So I can do the elif, because if we have one dictionary here, and we can ask if instance fruit is dict semicolon. Actually, I'm not sure if this will work, so let's try it. Key value, this kind of dictionary. If string value is in this dictionary. Not if I want to just test it, so not int is just in. So it actually works only for the keys, I think. Yeah, there is a different way how to do it for the values. You would just ask for values of the, because if you do this, that returns string value in. Yeah, so that works also. So let's just finish this. Yeah, we can do like multiple conditions. If key is, in fruit, print. Yeah, we can access the dictionary like this. So fruit string key. Is instance. So that was name error, typo. So it printed the value first and then the key value. Yeah. Okay. So that was the in, and is operator is something like double equals. Yeah. So this is also interesting, the difference between double equals and is. So the is operator does not match the values of the variables, but the instance of themselves. So if you have same values, but saved in different variables, it's two different IDs in the memory. So it's two different objects. So you have to keep in mind that if you just want to compare the values, you do double equals. If you want to compare instances, because you definitely get to some points where you want to check if something is exactly the same instance, because in many ways, like for example in SQL Alchemy, you get some query and you get some results back. You define the request you want to send, and when you get it back, it's kind of joined with the request. So you can get some kind of optimizations like that if you have that in mind, how it works in the details. We will get to SQL Chemie in later lectures. It's kind of complex at first. And yeah, there is also not operator, so it's just negation. So not false is true. And yeah, that's what that works for boolean. And yeah, if you want to ask if something is false, so you can, for example, have like verbose flag defined false, and if you have like if verbose print more info. Yeah, so if you get like a script where you want to print more info, you either have it like this, or there are other ways. And like the idea I want to show, if you do if not verbose, it gets printed. Yeah. And else is like, yeah, I mean less info of course and more info here. You get the idea. If I define the verbose true, relaunch this, yeah, you get the idea. So by the way, this is I'm using page up and down to go through this quickly, because in IPython you get with the arrows just like that, and the page up is for the whole blocks, for the cells. Okay, so there's some exercise. What's this? String formatting, yeah, conditions and the loops. So there is the for, you definitely went through that, and there is also the while. So you might see from, actually I'm doing it here, but yeah, it's okay. This is some exercise we will skip actually, because this will be kind of like homework for this was a homework, so you get the solution there. Yeah, the whole compare thing, yeah, so skip that because that's from the old lessons, because it was this task. Where is it? Yeah, here. This was this kind of practice. So script a function where you declare two numbers, two variables, and it compares what is larger, what is smaller, or if is equal. So you get the solution in the session too, but please try to make it and then look at the solution. I will give you also links for many other Python exercises, except these live coding. Where are these? Yeah, interactive tutorials. So this Codecademy and these. There's also like when you get more experience, there's like Python challenges. So that will be linked also here. I think it's, yeah, Exercism.io. Actually I will link it here so I don't forget. And this is a markdown. Yeah. Okay. Challenges. Okay. No questions here. Also, yeah, this is for beginners, so you get the idea. Okay. So theory. Yeah. So actually we can go to the string formatting a little bit, but actually, sorry, I wanted to show you the whiles. I'm skipping too much. Yeah. So there is the for loop, and there is the while loop. and there is also a break and continue. Yeah, we didn't went through that. That will make more sense when we'll be doing some specific scripts, but the idea is that mostly you want to use for, but in some cases when you want to do like infinite loop, you do the while true, and I don't recommend it because that can go in a loop, yeah, in endless loop, and you have to either first kill the Python or use keyboard interrupt. So actually let's try it, because it will not break your computer, but it will be just nasty. So let's print verbose or whatever. So it gets many yeah, there is no pause, so it spams the CPU. So avoid while trues. You should have some conditions in there. I didn't say that this is the Control C for keyboard interrupt for breaking the loop. So usually you do some kind of like count, as in this case. So let's say we want to count from 0 to from 100 to 0, or you can do the opposite way, but this is just how we are doing it. So well, so this is actually, you saw there is some condition. So as long as the condition is true, it will continue the loop, because if you do while false, it will not get satisfied. Yeah, you can do this. Yeah, this will not run. So if we do count is larger than 0, that's true, so we will count from 100 to 0. So because if you do like 0, when it will be 0, this will be false, this will be true. Sorry. Yeah, so the difference is that it's 0 is not larger than 0, but 0 is larger or equal. Yeah, this is or equal. Okay, so let's write it. So that will be like count is larger than 0, and we have to do in the loop the minus. So one way you can do this is count. So count equals count minus 1, or you can do also, this is like shorter way, count equals, so minus equals 1. So we went through it in this session 1, and it was actually the operators. Where is it? No, sorry. How this is work? So there is some inside search. Okay, so this is that doesn't work as I thought. Anyways, it was this kind of, I think it was on the top. Sorry for this. Yeah, list of operands. So yeah, this is the Python assignment operator. So this is the equals, and this is the subtract and. Yeah, so this is the same thing, and it works so for multiplying, dividing, etc. Yeah, same as these operators. I mean these. Where are we? Too much tabs. Yeah. So we can do this, and we can do something in the loop. Yeah, print the count. So this is exactly as we thought. Actually, no, it's not from 100, because I mean it is from 100, but the 100 doesn't get counted because we first subdivide it, and I mean subtract it and then print it. You can do it also like this, and I have to define that count is 100 again, so I can do it in this one liner. Count is 100. This will also, no, that will not work for some reason. So now you see it didn't work because count was already 0. Yeah, so you get the difference. Yeah, you can also do the break and continue. So let's say we want to skip number 50. So if count is, we can do also is, because when it will be 50, the same instance of the 50 will exist in the memory. So in this sense, it's okay to use is. So if the count will be 50, it will skip the iteration and it will not print, and it will also not count -1. So let's see what happens. Sorry. So it actually stops on the 50. So this is this is tricky. So this is the way when you want to first do the. I can uncomment this actually. Yeah, and you can see in the 50. Sorry again. 50 gets skipped. The other way is that when you want to reach 50 and exit, you do the break. Sorry, I have to define it again. Yeah, so when it's 50, the loop stops. So this is like, again, explained in different words what this is, and there is also else in the loops. I didn't use it too much, but let's see how it works. Yeah, let's run it. So this is the first while, and this is the for. So this is not printed because for loop is terminated because of break, but not due to fail in condition. So when the condition fails, it's when the loop of condition of for or while statement fails, then code part in else is executed. So we can try it in this while idea. Define count again. So this should, where is it? Yeah, it's on the else in this block, in this first. So it's like on the same level as the while. So when it will be finished, when the count will be not larger than 0, we can just print finished. Oh, sorry, I had the break still there. We can do continue and define. Sorry, we have to always go in the bottom. Yeah, so it went from 50 because count was 50, and you get the idea. It was finished. In the for, actually let's try it. I'm not sure how it works in the for kind of way. Let's try this. Yeah, so it's also at the end of the I'm not sure at this point. I will get back to it and explain in the next session. So that's the while. So that's all from the session 1. So let's get finally to the session 2. So we went through the string formatting, this kind of py format. So this is the old way and new way. You get the comparison, and in here we went through like why do we do this? Because you can also join strings like this. Actually, let's try run it here. So this works. You join the Albert and Einstein. There is a white space, so there's white space. Otherwise, it would be like this. So this works, but this doesn't. Yeah, you cannot subtract string from a string. That's how you when you use replace. So replace, what does it do? Sorry. How come? This is strange. Well, anyways, let's do it in here. Oh, what changed? Yeah, okay. No. What's this? Yeah, I'm not sure why that didn't work. Yeah, so replace will return a string with all occurrences of substring alt replaced by new. So in this case we replaced strings rt with nothing. We can do something like this, yeah, etc. So in some cases where you want to subtract strings, you use replace. Yeah, never mind. I will not save this. Never mind. Okay. Next, you're also gonna do this. You have to do it like this using the format. Actually, this would work, but the format does it for you. So just get yeah, there's the old way, but I'm thinking this kind of way is better. And we get to the daytime. Okay, so you might remember from first lecture I did import this, so this prints the Zen of Python, and you get all kinds of modules. So if I just write import and hit tab, you get all kinds of modules, and plus some I have in the virtual environment, or what I have installed in on the system. So there's NumPy, all kinds of things, because I think in here this will also work in IPython. Yeah, it uses the same runtime, but when you get on CleanPC you don't get so many libraries. But anyways, let's import datetime, and I think I will show you also some interesting page. Yeah, it's actually here. So there is yeah, first stringify time, or what's the function called? Yeah, stringify time. So yeah, let's import datetime. So actually let's import it here. So yeah, one way to explore the module is to use datetime and tab, and you get these. And so we actually want to use datetime. You can read the documentation about I have it link. No, I didn't have it. No, I don't want to reload. Python docs datetime. Yeah, 3.7 documentation. So you saw there was the max here, min here, so you get the explain. So the idea is that you have date classes, so that's year, month, and days, and you have time. That's hours, minutes, seconds, and etc. And time zone info, and datetime is a combination of those. Time delta is for the differences, and etc. Usually, when you want to just when you wouldn't know datetime, you would just use Python print current time, and one of the first results would point you to Stack Overflow or some tutorial page to print you the same thing. So this is how you define the current time. So now is exactly this. So today is 4th of July, and it's 10:22 at this current location, and there is some microseconds. Or actually, you can check the documentation. What's it exactly? Yeah, it's microseconds. Yeah, that will be the specific function now. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it doesn't print, but it's microseconds for sure. Anyways, let's get back. Sorry for switching too much. So now is the object of datetime. We can actually check that. So type now is a datetime object. Yeah. Yeah. So now as a couple of functions. So yeah, lots of functions here, but the idea is that we can print the current time. So as I explained, time is just piece of the time, so this part, and the date is just the year, month, and a day. What's this? Yeah, so month 30, that's different. No, I'm not sure what it is. The idea is that, yeah, it's just defined time delta, and it's yeah, so the difference in month 30 is actually it's time delta, so it's difference in time, and you can use the difference of time for you know, doing plus and minus, subtracting and adding to the current time. So if I do now minus 30 days, it goes 30 days back, and the same time. Yeah. So now the stringify time. So this is this will just print it in nice format, human readable. So this is the day, month, year, hour, minutes, and second. And in this help you get all kinds of different ways. So if you want to specify, for example, PM, and then the if it's the string AM PM, you would do it like the I, or was it minus I, capital I, because small I would be something else. Or actually let's try what it will do. Yeah, it will print small I, so we have to print large I, and then the space, and the thing what it was P. Yeah, so 10 AM. This is not nice. You can do all kinds of whatever. Yeah. So this was quick introduction to time, and you can definitely you have lots of different ways what you want to do. You, for example, want to do count what the current week this is. So we can. I'm not sure how I would do that from top of my head. So Python get. It's very important how you ask questions. So we know that the datetime is datetime object. So we can ask the specific questions like that. So get week date, I mean week number from datetime. Yeah, because if we would find a different way, I mean ask different way, we would not get the specific results. So it's important to call things how they are, what the type is, be explicit, and you get the good results. So this is kind of tricky. You see there is no real solution, but I mean the person who asked didn't mark the correct solution. Yeah, I'm not sure what the first index is, but the ISO calendar, yeah, it returns a tuple. Okay, we don't have to, we just can expect it like this. I mean inspect. So yeah, I don't have to copy it. Where is it? Sorry, I will just pin it so it's easier. Yeah. So if I want to do the current week date, let's do the get current week date from datetime. Oop, sorry, new line. So now is a calendar. So that prints. No idea what that means. Let's ask return 3 tuple containing ISO year, week number, and week date. Okay. So ISO year is 2018, week number is 27, and week day is 3. So I'm not sure why they didn't explain it in here. Yeah, but you can always ask what the function does with a question mark. I think there is also 2 question mark. Yeah, 2 questions mark work in for printing the actual code. Yeah. So what I did is you can do it on the whole module, and you get actually the file. This file, you get it printed, and you can browse in it Vim-like. So find the max where the max here is defined or used. Yeah, so this is when you are inspecting some libraries, this is the way, one of the ways how to do that. You can also ask datetime and the dunder methods, so the file will be the same path we just viewed. There is also docs. Oh, sorry, so this module doesn't have docs, it has doc. Yeah, so what kind of module it is, you get a dict, so all kinds of information from the module, and there are many other dunder methods. Yeah. It's the second element in the tuple. Okay. Yeah, opening, saving same files. This is can be hard at first for some people, but anyways, there are many ways how to. Well, there is for opening files is the clear way, but there are many hidden things about working with files. You have to be careful what you do, because you can, if you have permissions to override files, you can definitely do some damage if you are not careful. But you just opening files, yeah, because you open files for writing, and then you can do some damage. So be careful about file operations in Python, because it's like, you know, you are writing a script in Bash, you do rf on some bad path you don't want, and bad things happen. So definitely be careful. So the idea is that there is the open built-in function. Let's actually print some help about it. So open, and this is like long help. So we can make it higher. Yeah. So the open takes a file, so that's either full path or the current path. So in this path, I think I'm in the different. Let's get me personal and Python beginners, and we can also, the IPython supports regular cd and ls commands and others. So there is the file. Is the file there? Input and open. No, it's not there. So what will happen if the file is not there? It will give me an error, file not found, and this will be the contents of the error, no such file in directory. So we see there is no such file. So let's print. Yeah, we can print the readme. I mean, read the readme. Or open, sorry. So the default in the help, you get all these arguments for the open function, and you can see the default is mode R. Buffering and etc. Usually don't have to care about it, but you get into some cases, you might get into some cases where I want to define those. So the default R is open for reading, and then you get all these different modes. So W is for writing, but truncating, I mean, that's still kind of, it will override. X is for new file, A is for appending, B is for binary. So this is when you combine these, so you can write in binary mode, write in binary mode. We will get to it later, but when there are the good use cases. When you just want to work with strings, you don't need to load it as bytes. There is some text mode, and also you can combine plus. Yeah, so this is explained where to use in what, but usually can get by with read and write or append. So this will work now, and what it will return is this IO text wrapper. So this is kind of like a helper for you to work with files. So it will not load the data directly, but it will just initialize, I mean start or create the wrapper for working with files. So you can define it like this. Oh, sorry. readme md, because as I did this, it was just spammed in the, I didn't define the wrapper into any variable, so it was just launched, and I would have to do direct operations with it. But there is a different way how to work with files. So usually define it into some variable, because you want to open it, and then after you're done with it, you want to close it. So if I first ask if it's closed, it's not, because now it's open, and I can, the Python is linked directly to the readme md. So if I edit it in Vim or any other editor and save it, it depends on the system. I'm not sure about the details, but it might save it, or it might say the file is in use, and I cannot overwrite it. So when you're working with files, you either exit the Python instance, or you just you have to make sure you close the file after you're done your operations with it. So you do close as a function, and then you get this, you ask, because it's like a defined value, if it's closed or not. So now it's closed. Yeah, we can define a new file. So actually, what was the difference between write and x? Yeah, so I'm not sure. Good question. Someone can explain. I will find it for the next session. I have to write it down actually. Next session. Else in for, and this was I forgot. Yeah, difference between x and p in open function. Yeah, so this is how you open file for writing, and then you just use the function write. So actually, let's see what other function the IO text wrapper has. So let's expect like this. Can you also use tab for getting the defined variables. So there's buffer, deattach encoding. So default encoding was UTF-8. Yeah, new lines, read lines, seekable, write lines. So let's just use write. Let's leave it. Yeah. So write will return you. Actually, what does it return? Because you see there is some output from the write function. Write string to a stream, return the number of characters written. So the length of this is 26 characters, including these new lines. So these new lines is when we will print it. So this is interesting. I didn't close the file yet. So now when I will close it, I can use also from here. Then it will be printed, yeah? Saved to the file. What's this? Yes, this is some kind of Mac. Yeah, this is Markdown, sorry. So there is this comprehensions. How long is it? I would skip it for now because it's there are generators and stuff. That's for some advanced example. But yeah, let's do at least part of it. So you get the idea. Things is a list of things. So define it, run it. That's clear. When you want to work with each item in the list, you can either I want to lower each item in the list, so I can do this, and the thing, you get the idea. The first is another thing, then another thing too, and each time in the print function we do the lower function on the string, so it's lowercase. And if I want to save it to a new list, I have to define a new list. So I have 2 lists now, and it will work also, but there is a better way. So you can remember it as a poem. So this is the same thing for think in things. Yeah, this is the same, but if I do think for things and use these brackets as for definition for a new list, it will do the thing. Return me a list with the same content as the things, because I didn't do anything with it. But if I will do think lower, you will see that it will return me a list, and each item is lower now. And you can do multi-comparison. Yeah, so you can return yeah, actually this is interesting. We get also any and all. This is very easy functions. Yeah, we don't get how it's defined, but you can find it in the code, in the documentation. So first, in this case, it will return me a list that if it will do comparison on each item if it's thing, if it exactly the same string thing. We see there is no such string, so it will be false. But if there's thing 3, so if I ask for thing 3, there'll be 1 true. And when we use any, it will ask, yeah, if there is at least one iterable, one true in the iterable. So if I do the same thing, if there is thing 3 in things, and so this is like condition if any, print yay. Yeah? If I ask just for the thing, nothing there, just thing 3, it will not work. And all is, so this is like at least one true, and all is all true. So if I ask if each instance of the thing is a string, you should print all elements in the things are strings. That works. If I ask for this will not work. Yeah. So this is any and all. Again, we will get to some examples when it's useful. Yeah, but you see the major difference. There is no square brackets. So if let's actually get to the generators. If I just do actually let's do it like this. If I do the same thing as here, do this poem, and just yeah, it will be the same result, but you get the generator object. This is also generator object on different memory. So generator is similar to, yeah, this is kind of advanced stuff, but when you iterate through the list or anything that is iterable, you can first ask if it's iterable. So things should have done their method it now. Sorry. If it's iter, done the iter. Yeah, it's not documented. Implemented iter. Okay. Well, the idea is that iter will give you a list iterator, and I didn't do it before, but you use like next things and under iter, and it will print you like the first, and I mean let's say the iterator stays same, so it will first print you only this. There is some way how to shift it to another element, but I'm not sure. Yeah, this is the way actually. Yeah. So this is same as because if I didn't do this will be the same. If I do it in the for, it will do the same thing. So by default it will launch the dunder iter, but you can specify it like this. In some cases where you definitely need those, but that's too complex, sorry. What's this? Yeah, we can also do, I mean, return the, I mean, you can do, for example, upper. Yeah, you can combine this, but this is just like a interesting one-liner. So now let's get to the, yeah, so let's make a short break. No questions here, no questions here. Never mind, I should announce this session more better next time. So one thing we will go through is try and accept and the classes. So short break now. Let's continue with the, what's this? Yeah, okay. So we can do the file not found error. So if you have a script and it encounters an error, it exits. So to avoid this, you want to catch those errors and work a way out. So if you had like some script which reads files, so that would be like you can use the function input. So in the input there will be prompt give a name of file space, and it will be like target file. So I will ask for something that doesn't exist. So whatever. So target file is string whatever with a space. Sorry. Yeah, I did the space there. Ah, sorry, I didn't do space here. Now it's better. Target file is whatever, and yeah, let's make it yeah, just this. Yeah, actually I didn't explain with the better way with the open. Let's actually write it here, because to avoid writing close function on each file operation, you get this file is missing somewhere. I will, yeah, never mind, this is from all the lessons. Anyways, there is statement with. Is there some help? No, never mind. The idea is that you use with open, and as you do the operations on it, and as you are finished, the Python will automatically close the IO wrapper for you, so you don't have to worry about the closing and etc. So its syntax is like this with open. So this will return the test type wrapper, so we have to save it so that you do it as a statement s. Equals doesn't work there, it doesn't make sense. It's just s. So I can do something like IO wrap, and then you see there is a semicolon, so new line, 4 spaces or tab. Yeah, never mind, whatever works. And so IO wrap, and we can do, yeah, like a read line. No, actually let's print it. Yeah, so it will print me a first line. If I would do the read, it will print everything. So this is the markdown of the GitHub README. So actually, let's show this, that during the block of code, the IO wrap will be not closed, and after this code block finishes, it will be closed. Actually, let's make a read line again to make it clearer. So it was first false because it was still operating, then it printed the read line, and then after it did the IO wrap is closed. So if you want to work with the file again, you would have to use with open again. Perhaps there is some way to reopen, but I'm not sure at which point it would be useful. So let's do the same thing here with open target file as read. So we don't have to specify the mode. As IO wrap again, you can name it whatever makes sense for you. IO wrap makes sense for me, and yeah, print the first line. So IO wrap read line. Yeah, this will not print me help because it doesn't know what IO wrap is yet. But so I just remember it. That's read line. So what will happen? This will fail because whatever is not defined. So I can do the whole try block. So I can try, then the width will be 1 space, then this is 1 tab, the print will be 2 tabs. So this will try to open and do the print, because we could also just do the try open, but let's leave it like this. We can do try and accept. Never do accept and just this, because that will catch all the errors. We don't want that. We want to catch for specific file not found error. So if any other error, like file exists error happens, we will catch different error. So never do just accept and semicolon. do always except and some error. And yeah, we can print that target. We can do the string formatting, so define do the placeholder. So the target file, it will be target file is not found. Dot format target file and then this print function. Yeah, and you see no error, and whatever is not found is print. Yeah, so if I would do readme md and do this again, this will work and will print me the first line. You can also, let's get back, let's define something else and cache the error again, and you can also define the same error as you did the iwrap as whatever as error, and then print some details about the error. So if you print the full error, it will give me because you saw that it just cache code the error and didn't print y. So you get it like this, and error as a no. Let's ask. Why is not defined? Okay, it's probably defined only in this try, and that it gets deleted. Anyways, we can ask in this block what kind of function, I mean yeah, functions or methods or variables in the error is. So it's all these. So you usually will be interested in like error number or string error or file name. So yeah, you can just print the file name. If for some reason you are trying to read something you don't have defined and you just want to see what the file name it tried to open, so what is the error or just error number, that's 2. Yeah, you get the idea. So that's the with open. This is yeah, there's some random. This is some more complex example. Yeah, for catching the input of the user. So this is kind of like because when you do the input, you will get always string, so you have to convert it to integer to work with the integers. Let's not do this. We will do something else. We can get finally to the functions and then the classes. So you use functions when you do some things more frequently. So let's say I don't want to write this with open and print all the time, so I can just define it as a, it's same like an alias for bash, or just a function also in bash. It's a function, not alias, sorry. So you just name it. So you start with the statement def, name the function. So name the function exactly what the more, so it's clear from the first look what the function does. So if I do function A, nobody will know, but if I will do open file and read first line, this is very descriptive. You would have some kind of clear or shorter name. So actually let's make it shorter. Just open, read first line, yeah, open and read line, yeah, like that. Actually, yes. Whatever. So then you do you mark it as a function, so it always has to be there. So empty parentheses. You can also specify arguments, so we will do that later, next step, but let's do the first this, and I can just copy it. I'm lazy. Okay. I could also go back and just use a new line and do the def there, but whatever. So we can do this, and now if we will do the try and replace this with open read line, this will work. I mean, do the same thing. Yeah, it will not found the file, so target file will be readme md, and it will work. So the most important thing in functions is that the target file we linked here links to the global scope, and we can have like inside scope in the functions. So if I will define the function again and ask for the target file, so the target file will be inside of this function, and it will not affect any target file variable in the global scope. So now if I will run this again, this will tell me an error, type error, that the open and read line function required positional argument target file. I didn't define any, so I have to define one now. So just to see, the target file is still readme. So if I will do whatever file, oh yeah, sorry, actually I should do format error, not of the global target file, but error file, how it was named, file name, yeah, and remove this. Yeah, that makes more sense, because the target file is still the readme, and target file inside the function is completely something else. I mean, it's whatever file. Yeah, so there's difference. Another example will be with the count I showed before. So let's go back. We can use this. So you saw there is it is finished because count is currently 0. So I don't want to define it all the time that count is 0, so I will make this whole thing function. Oops. So def count from, yeah, count from and whatever, count from integer down. Yeah, it makes more sense. And then I have to do tabs on each of these. So as you define a function, nothing happens when you launch it. Sorry, I didn't define the count itself. So I want to define the count inside of the function. Otherwise it would still try to reach the global count. So I can do count from in and down. If I do question mark on it, it will just print me there is no docstring. It's a type function. It's located in this file, and there is some signature. Yeah, this is how it gets used. If I do 2 equals, it will print me the whole function, the source actually. So this is the example I wanted to show with 2 equals. So if I will launch it with for example 10, it will work. So now I don't have to define all the time count and whatever. I can just do like this. So this is kind of like when you will know, you will do some kind of block of code or some operation more times, or you want to hide the variables inside the function, just inside the function, and not to be in global scope. Use functions. One thing, very important thing from functions is that you get the return statement. So let's say I want to, actually let's also do a docstring. So with docstring you do either just a string here, or you can do 3 strings for multiple lines, and I will print that count from count down 1 by 1 and in this case I want to define that, I want to return that when the count is 50, exactly 50, it will return something. It will return true. Let's return just true and false. If count is exactly 50, return true. Otherwise, in all cases, otherwise return false. So the very important thing about return is that it will exit the function. So this is kind of like the break in the loop, but return will exit from the loop and also from the function. So I will not do continue, I will do return true, and in the end, when this condition is not satisfied, so when I count from 50 and less, it will return false. Now the name of the function doesn't make sense, but this is just a way how to explain. Oops. Yeah, let's remove some of these. Yep. So count from int and down. So let's say I do 30. It will do all these prints and return false, because previously it didn't return anything. It was just input. Oh, this is all the way here. Yeah, input and no output. Yeah. So now when there is return, it will actually return something. So let's do counting from 50 exactly. Yeah. So this doesn't work because I do the subtraction directly here, so the condition never is satisfied. So if I do a 51, actually let's use 100, so it will count from 100 to 50. Then it will do a subtraction, is 50, and it will go here, yeah, to this condition, return true, yeah. So that's functions. Yep, I will get this example later because it's kind of tricky to there's different ways how to catch the validate the input from user to see if it's a number or not. This is kind of, yeah, I didn't explain it finally in the try. So let's go back a little. Where do we have some try? Yeah, here. So there is try, except, and finally, as you can find in the documentation. Errors and exceptions. Button try finally. I'm not sure why you get, I want version 3.7. Never mind. Finally, so there's the example. Yeah, there's the race. We will get to it later. So finally close is always executed before leaving the try statement. So in some cases when we always want to try something and then do something finally, like decide if it was if something was successful or not, and do some operation with it or something, when it makes sense, you can do print. I try to open file, target file, whatever variable it holds now. Yeah, and you get the idea. You would get condition if it was successful or not, and print the results in the end. So even if I managed to open the file, it would also get printed. Yeah. So let's go back. So this is for another time, and classes. So actually I think there was some Python cheat sheet. Is it? Yeah, like this. So yeah, this is some Reddit post about a guy who made interesting cheat sheet, and this is the, why do I have two links? It's the same thing. Yeah, see the same link. Never mind. So there's the step by step, or yeah, actually there's more function classes, file exceptions. Let's just print the whole thing. No, sorry, one document. So you can find the file link in the GitHub repo. Let's save it somewhere. Yeah, it's so huge and my internet is so slow. I wonder if the stream is even holding well, because if the, damn it. No, it seems to be okay. Let's test my upload. Oh, probably the server is so slow. Yeah, it's very fast. Actually, test upload. Yeah. There's also interesting Python scripts for it, like speed tester Python. Yeah. Oops. Speed test CLI. So actually, let's we can try this quickly in pip, or we can also search in R, even if there is some speed test. Yeah, it's there. So let's just install it. And how it's get used, it's speed test CLI, right? Yeah. Speed test CLI. So the default, it will found the, Merlin near University of Technology. It's very close, and there's also like more options here. And yeah, well, it's very good. Upload is higher than download. Okay, so you can also inspect the code, so it's a setup and stuff, but the stuff is in here. So when you get more advanced, oh, this is so simple. Yeah, it runs speedtest py, sorry. So speedtest py is here, and that will, you can inspect how everything is written, so it's pretty big code. And the idea is that we can find the code online, read the source, use some of the functions it has for some ideas, because I didn't explain that the Python is interpreted language, so it compiles on runtime. As you have some script saved in a file, run it, it gets compiled directly in the runtime. When you have a module, actually, the module, as it gets imported, it will get pre-compiled. So that's like .pyc, and so it's like kind of like faster for importing next time. You will see that when we will work with modules more. And yeah, this is the point about Python open source, and you can read anything. So if you want to read like Python requests git, how it's written, I probably don't want to see the source because that probably is very complex, but you can read it. The docs, requests, so there is lots of stuff. So for example, the sessions, and that's, you can see how many contributors on that works. It's many lines, and you can read all the stuff. So classes, why there are classes, and what the rebel proxies does, and etc. So we get back to the Python cheat sheet. So this is like nice PDF, and this is like summary of all we did. except the classes. So you know this, we did Albert Einstein, yeah, combination of strings, which I don't recommend. I would rather you use format, because also you can do that. Oops. Yeah, you can do this and save it to some variable, and you can also do the string formatting. So like empty, actually 2 elements in a string, space, another element, format. Oops. No. What did I do? Ah, there's a plus, what the, of course. So this also works. So no need to use this combination of strings, because you might get into errors easily if you are not sure what the first and last name might be. So either you would use the format, but of course when you would have some example that the last name would be like input from user and the user would input an integer, you could directly use this kind of combination of strings to see if the two things are strings, and you know, try and do some except, because that would return some type error. Yeah. Or you could do like if the two things are strings, then join them. Otherwise, say what's the problem. Yeah. So the list, we went through it, you define it, then you go to indexes like this, last item, we did that. You can loop through them, append things, make a numerical list. Yeah, so you can define like from 1 to 10, do x times, you know, the exponent 2. These comprehensions we did. So this is the same thing, you know, 1-liner, 3 lines. Of course, this is more readable at first look for beginners. For more advanced people, this is also okay. It matters what they are used to. Slicing, we did slicing of the strings. It works same with the lists. So this will print, yeah, just from Bob, yeah, first two, yeah, just to first element, second element, and the third will not get saved. Yeah. And copying a list of backslash, so yep, that is like example for the comparison of 2 equals and just is. Yeah, we can try it. So I have some fruits now. Yeah, one thing I didn't explain in the beginning, you can define fruits like this. I explained that in session 1 again, but I'm lazy to write all the stuff, so I can do melon, pear. Yeah, I can do it like this also, apple, and then I can split the string by commas. Fruits is a list. So this is a list, type fruits, yeah. See, and now the ID of it. So I can append things to it, so yum, and the ID is now different. Now it's same, sorry, but it has appended yum. Now I will do copy of a fruits, and it will be fruits and just a semicolon. And now the fruits, the IDs, sorry, it's a function. Fruits, and so it's same, and ID of a copy of a fruits, yeah, is different. So the reason why would you want to do this is that, again, when I append something to the fruits, it will get appended, and copy of a fruits is still with the previous yum, I can remove the yum. Now it's not there. Of course, that makes sense when I explain it like this, but when you would do probably try, like, I will name it like link of fruits, and link to a fruits. And now I will do, actually I make this very easy, but if I will use the link of fruits variable and do like pop, it will remove an item and return it. So pop pear, for example. Up. Yeah, I have to what? I have to specify index. Okay, so yeah. So now link of fruits, that will remove the apple, but also from the fruits is also removed. So the IDs are same. Yeah. So that's the again link of fruits is fruits, true, but link of fruits is not. Yeah, we can do it like this. Copy our fruits. Yeah, true. Yeah, because it is different IDs. Yeah. When you would compare the values, so let's make it same. Copy our fruits. Fruits, remove yum. What will happen actually? Remove just the first yum. So let's do that. And now there is no yum, so it will trace an error. And copy of fruits is what? Melon, pear, and apple. So let's append apple to copy of fruits with a space. Yeah, because I did the space with yeah, you get the idea. What? Append. And now it should look this. Oops. How comes there are two? Ah, sorry. Fruits was missing. Apple. So let's do a trick. Like yeah. Now if I want to remove the two apples in one go, you can do while. So actually let's how do I copy of fruits, and now I want to ask if there is apple with a space in it. Oops, sorry, I have to do it. Ask string in something. Yeah, so that's true. So I can do while there is some apple in the copy of fruits, remove it. Yeah? So copy of fruits, remove apple, and that works. Just to get back to the point, yeah, append apple and now compare the values, and that will work. And if I do is, it will try to compare the objects. That's false. This is now 3 times I explained the difference between is and equals, but it's very important to realize this because it's not so clear at first point. Then the tuples, so yeah, that's clear. If statements, simple test, elif, dictionaries, yeah, that's clear, I guess. Input, while loops, functions, passing argument, default values for the parameters, so you can specify like default parameters. We will get to it once we will do keyword arguments and arguments for the functions. Classes will go through. We will use the same example. Yeah, this is more details. So these two are just a general overview. Working in files, we did that, and exceptions, we did that also. Zen of Python, we went through it as well. So this is like details about lists, range function, slicing list, dictionaries, most of it. So you can definitely go through this and return it, like or even print it if you want to waste paper, and just keep it on your desk to get the idea. And there's even Pygame, okay. Matplotlib, yeah, that's more advanced stuff. We can get to it as well in later lectures. So let's just do the classes, and I think I had the same example as in page 2 in here. So first thing, as I said, Python is it supports object-oriented way of programming, and you saw that each item has some functions or methods, so that's kind of like object in the sense of Python. But if you were talking to some programmer who was, for example, Java programmer, and you say you were talking about objects, as in working with objects in programming, you would mean these objects, so classes. They are also referenced as objects. So the way the standard, the PEP8, I think, classifies it that the classes always starts with capital letter, so it's easier to see what is a class. So we will define this class. This is a docstring, represent a doc. Yep. And there is like this constructor, I think people call it. So this is init, so it initializes the doc object. So there is a new thing, self. So self references to itself. So the idea is that in the class, when I do self, it will link to the class self and not some variable name. Yeah, you have to try it to get the point, I guess. But the idea is that in each function you always have to specify the self, otherwise it would tell you that there's missing argument. So in init we specify the doc has a name and some rate. So there is the self, always has to be there, the name and rate. And then there is function sit, so it would symbolize sitting, so print doc with rate. This is sitting, yeah. And then there is wrapper, which is like representations, and that will print when the class is initialized. It will print this information what happened. So now get to the point. The doc is the class itself, but my doc will be the instance of it. So I have to specify it first, save the class, and then this will work. I can also show you that the doc itself, it has only these functions. I'm not even sure what that is. Return a type of method in a resolution order. Yeah. So main has this is like the global scope main. We will get to the next lecture. And object, I don't know what this is, but yeah. And then there is just sit function. I'm not sure what MRO is used. I will actually write it down. When class MRO is used. Okay. So I wanted to show that doc has docstring and also a bunch of other methods. You can use like dict, so it will print like in which module it is, what is init, what's sit, what's wrapper, and etc. Let's leave it. So my doc is an instance of a doc class. So my doc will be is done and it's golden retriever. So that's instance. So okay. So representation works when you ask for just print my doc, because if I didn't have the representation there, so save the class, do the another instance, because as I save the class, it will not affect the instance, so this will still work. But if I do the like override the instance, this will print me something else. This is just print me that my doc is on this address in the main scope, and it's a doc over the class. So I will just get it back. And then it has these kind of functions. So there is breathe, name, and sit function. So this is a sit function. Yeah, so they're still printing the wrapper. So wrapper can be used like you know, some kind of identifier or like helper what the class is. So I want to show that there is name, there is also breathe, which is defined in here. Yeah, and then there's the function my doc sit. Yeah, so I can have multiple instances of dogs, different breeds, and work with them. But what I want to show in here, and what also the where is it? What this shows is that you have class inheritances, which you might get to some program when it really makes sense to make a child instances to a parent class. I don't have an example right now, but just remember that there is class inheritance, and it's really powerful. Yeah, that is super. And actually I'm not so good in classes. I don't use them very much because I think there is always a way how to write less classes, but definitely there are many ways, many cases where the classes are the best option. So I'm not sure what super does, but in this, I mean, about the details, because it gets quite complex. There is a good talk about it from Raymond Hettinger. Consider super. Raymond Hettinger has a bunch of other very cool lectures. So it's from PyCon 2015. I will link to it in here. It's just my notes. Super lecture from Raymond. Sorry. Yeah. Like this. Okay. So it will not make sense from this lecture at first point, I guess, but if you are more experienced, it will make point for you. For example, might make. But yeah, just for this case, super is it will just inherit the same init as in the doc class. Yeah. Yeah, because if we didn't have the super, we would have to like define the thing again, like name and breed again. We just want to inherit the name and breed from the doc class. Yeah. So I wanted to show, if I didn't specify the name and breed, what will happen. Yeah, it will require a name and breed. So even if I just define like 1, it will still tell me that it requires a breed. Yeah, that works. So in this case I have to do the same, because if I didn't, it would show me the same thing. Oh, sorry, subgroup is not defined. Now it's defined to tell me that it requires a break. So I will define, yeah, I didn't say this. The doc doesn't just have a sit function and a search doc, like SIR doc. It it has sit and search function. So, and you also see that there's the same representation as from the previous class. This gets inherited and it works. There is the sit function, and there is also the search function, because we can see from this. So breed, name, search, and sit. So search is a function, so I have to call it like this, and it will just print me the string. Yeah. So you get the idea, and I think for this case, yeah, we are how long is the string? I don't see. Anyways, I think it's 2 hours, and it's about time we close this. Session 2 is finalized, and let's see what other stuff we have. Where is it? I just save it. I'll make a copy actually, because I want to edit some stuff there. Going faster. Yeah, here it is. Then there is like day 3. What's there? So actually we went more to the Lamp Python stuff, dictionaries and modules and packages. So that will be for the next session for sure, because we will actually start writing some files, some scripts, saving them, explaining the domain, and actually the general way how you write modules. So you can like go ahead and read this, but if you want to wait for next session, we will explain that. And what else? Yeah, modules and imports. Yeah, then we will work with some kind of some specific modules. So request is not part of the standard libraries, but it's very useful for working with HTTP in general. There's unit test, subprocess. We will go through file operations again with OS, which is more advanced. I mean, it's just the way how we work with yeah, OS path, you know, get if the file exists, and etc. Yeah, there's also pip. We'll get to pip and the virtual env and the general difference between, you know, the package and I mean Arch Linux package and pip package and etc. Also some matplotlib. Oh, this is broken. So I have to prepare for next session next week. If you have any points or ideas, or you didn't get something, raise questions and I will answer them along with these next session. And consider what you want, what you are interested in, what you want to know, and we'll explore that area and get you started, but to get you closer what you want to do. So I have out of the battery, 2 hours talking. This is enough for today. See you all.